Hello and welcome back to Origin. Today we will be finishing off the flooded prison now that we can actually breathe in water. Well, somewhat anyway. Thanks to our upgrade, the monsters around here won't pose too much of a trouble to us anymore. Regular monsters individually tend not to be a huge threat in most Ys games. With the exception of Ys 2 and some parts of Wanderers, of course. However, on the other side of that, the Ys games have never really reached Dynasty Warriors levels of antagonist slaying. Oh yes, something I forgot to mention last time, and well, any other time when the slimes come up, is that slimes may split to surround you and attack you and whatnot. Every time they split, however, the rewards are also properly multiplied. This is crucial for some of the SP grinding you can do fairly late in the game. As you probably noticed, we now have an oxygen meter hovering above us. When that goes to 0, we die, and that's an instant game over. Unfortunately, when we are close to drowning, it is not accompanied by a certain set of drowning music. Yeah, this area has 4 save points. Both this one and the next one have that many. And also the final area of the tower. So quite a few, actually. This area can be a little bit difficult to fight in because while you're standing in the lowest level of the water, it's sometimes difficult to hit the water striders above you. Other than that, it's not too bad. Yeah, you can actually pick up items that completely refill your oxygen meters, so that takes a lot of the unpleasantness of being underwater with limited oxygen. Now, one of the problems here is that these turtles can't actually be hurt by anything that I have. And some of these are red, which means they're mandatory to destroy. So I'm gonna have to look elsewhere for that solution. Wow, this is pretty much completely side-scrolling. I guess there are still some fans of Wanderers in the Falcom development staff. Also, those spikes don't instantly kill you, no matter how huge and menacing they are. Yunica, and by extension, the other protagonists of this game, are not balloons. There are a couple of treasures in here that I'm going to pretty much have to get. Swimming controls are not that difficult. Jump to ascend, don't jump to descend, and so on. the general idea behind difficulty in the Ys games has usually been hard to beat, not hard to play. A game that's difficult because it's hard to beat would be like Oath and Felghana, where a game that's difficult to beat because it's, say, hard to play would be something like Quap or whatever, or Ernest Evans or something like that. Nothing in that pot? How cruel. Smashing pottery should always give me stuff. Okay, we got the Bolt Crash skill. It'll let us break the turtles, and as you can see, the Bolt Crash ability has a very high vertical reach, which makes it very, very useful against certain bosses and enemies as we go through the game. One of the other effects is that using the Bolt Crash skill actually grants invincibility frames. Which is something that Hugo does not get with his skill that derives from the hammer. But Hugo has other ways of tanking damage. In general, the skills derived from that item for each character are geared towards absolutely murderizing stationary enemies. Or enemies in general. But mostly the stationary sorts. They also will allow you to smash through walls, though not all walls. Real wall crushing takes talent. Okay, I'm missing a turtle. Where it is? Got no idea. Thankfully, I have plenty of oxygen. Yeah, while we're waiting for that to happen, I'd like to talk about the music in Ys Origin. There are actually surprisingly few remixes, because I know that other companies would use every opportunity to remix musics from, say, Ys 1 and 2. But this game does not actually have that many. There was remixed music in the spoken intro. And we'll be hearing another piece pretty soon. But I think there are only 6 tracks in this game that are actual remixes of stuff that was in previous Ys games. And the original stuff is pretty good. The major normal boss theme, Scar of the Divine Wing, is probably one of my favorite boss tracks in the series. Okay, time to boost some max hit points after I get out of the water and not die. those only increase your HP by 3 on normal, but there are quite a few of them throughout the game, so it does add up. I think there's at least one per area. Yeah, those water striders have a water beam attack that can just knock you flat. It's more annoying than really damaging, though. These guys, they leave slime trails when they walk around, making you slip and slide and whatever and all that. Not too bad for Yunica, but can cause problems for others. We're getting towards the end of the area. This is pretty much designed as a grinding room. Most areas near the boss are in this game. They're usually packed with monsters close together, so you can get the ultimate experience multiplier pretty easily if you want it. Which you probably will. Hey there, little guy. How are you doing? The charged version of the Bolt Crash lasts longer and so causes a lot more hits and has a greater horizontal reach. This allows us to do some pretty vicious things later on. Wait, later on? I mean the next boss. Speaking of the next boss, if you have a phobia of centipedes or other similar creepy crawlies, it's going to be a bit of an adventure. I also decided to go back and grab that level that was close within reach, because without it, there was a fair chance that the next boss would actually be able to destroy me. Like, completely. I wish red enemies gave experience. Anyway, we've broken the seal on the gate, which means it's time to save and buy stuff. Upgrades. And, well, upgrades. Can't exactly buy new weapons around here. You can't really upgrade from Claria. I wanted to increase bad status resist, but turns out I didn't have the SP for that like I usually do by this point, so I decided to go with increase the effect of healing pickups, because that will be essential later on. I'm just going to have to end up breathing poison on this next boss. Well, Oh dear. Okay, the flooded prison boss is Nightilger, which was the second boss of East 1 and located in the Hilltop Shrine. Much of the strategy is the same in that in the first phase you need to attack everything but the head. It has... Each section is covered by armor with a lightning spine that, drops lightning bolts on you when it's crawling around on the pillar. However, after you break the armored spine, that section becomes a bomb launcher that shoots time bombs that explode with a radius and deal poison to you. When it's crawling around on the ground, it will still shoot the poison bombs, but not any lightning bolts, at least not from the still armored sections. Because when it's crawling around, if the head sees you, it will shoot a lightning bolt that can do some pretty nasty stuff to you and also put you in bad positioning because of how it knocks you around. The poison bombs are on a fairly long timer, so they can actually be knocked out of the arena with normal attacks. The more sections you break, the closer you are to winning, but the more poison bombs will spawn. Boss is getting more difficult through injury. This isn't a shmup, Falcon. Now when you've reduced it to half health, it'll start rolling up and, rolling around. This is easy enough to avoid. While it moves fairly quickly, it doesn't actually have that fast of a turn rate, so it can't draw a beat on you particularly easily. Oh yes, I am now suffering from the inevitable poison. Thankfully, right now it's only doing 1 damage a tick, but that will change once my max HP gets higher. The reason I grabbed the extra level is that if I didn't, the poison bombs would probably be doing twice as much damage as they're doing to me now with their actual explosions. And again, that damage will add up. Okay, once you've destroyed all of the armor on all of the section, the head finally becomes vulnerable. Which means you can hit it pretty much with whatever you want. This fight is probably easiest as Yunica because of the insane vertical reach that her Bolt Shock skill gives her. Still, a bit of slashing, and then he'll be done. That's it for Nightilger. The gate to the next area is open. We will save the game here. And next time on Ys Origin, we will be taking on the first segment of the Guilty Fire. See you then.